Guys, this video will have no spoilers. Alright guys, so it's been 14 years since the first Incredibles film came out. 14 years. Within that 14-year span, there's been tons of other movies that have came out. I mean, we got Nolan's Batman trilogy. I know it's not animated, it's still a superhero. We got countless X-Men movies and like 2 spin-offs and reboots. We've had 2 Fantastic Four movies, 1 reboot. I mean, it's been countless films that have came out in the superhero genre. And Incredibles being arguably one of the best superhero films ever made. Now finally, we have a sequel. It's 2018, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a sequel, The Incredibles 2. So, as always, let's get into the good. Okay, so the good, right off the bat. The film starts off great. It definitely brings you back in, which is fantastic. I mean, it's almost like the first film and the second film don't skip a beat. Now, let's get a little more into it without getting into it. So, where the film really shines is Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Incredible being Mr. Mom. That's where the film is really great. There's more scenes with Jack and the family, and that's where the film really is strong and great. And it's great to see characters like Frozone back and Elastigirl. It's wonderful, honestly, and those are great elements, seeing that family, that whole family dynamic. However, there's always a bad. So let's get into the bad. Okay, so the bad. Honestly, this is where I didn't want to go. Okay, so I was talking about that whole 15-year spiel. It can go either really good, because they've had 15 years to make it great, or really bad. Well, I might be one of the only people that thought The Incredibles was okay. Now, okay, let me explain, okay? It isn't a bad film. However, 15 years. You have 15 years to make a film amazing. And if it's not amazing or as good as the first one, there's a problem. And that's the problem with The Incredibles 2. Okay, I'm going to say this and I'm not going to get any further. The villain just doesn't work. When you see the film, you'll know what I mean, but the villain doesn't work. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, you watch the movie and you'll be like, Mr. Deathbreath was right. Or maybe Mr. Deathbreath is nuts. Whatever. Mr. Deathbreath is Mr. Deathbreath, right? But anyway, the villain doesn't work, okay? And the thing where the movie kind of fails is, it's like the movies, okay, so the movies obviously, as the trailer depicts, is Mr. Incredible being Mr. Mom and Elastigirl doing her thing, fighting the villain or whatever. And the thing is, all the scenes with Mr. Incredible being the dad and with Jack and him just trying to keep the domestic house in order is fantastic. But because the villain doesn't work with Elastigirl, that's the weaker part of the film. And that's where I feel like the film isn't very good. And then here's the thing, you know how I don't like derivative action sequences? Well, there's one of those chase sequences where it's like, oh my gosh, let's do this so we can prevent catastrophe from happening. And the thing is, it goes on too long and I got bored and lost interest. Kind of, and when I say in the vein, I mean the same kind of idea, but it's not the scene. Okay, keep that in mind. And again, this isn't spoiler, so trust me. You should trust me by now, I'd hope. Okay? Kind of like in The Fast and the Furious, when they had part 7, where they had to stop that drone, and it's like, oh, chase the drone. Or like in the movie, Upgrade, when it's like, oh, get car chase. I just don't like chase sequences, because it becomes boring action sequences. It just doesn't work. I mean, unless you're counting 7, where they had that wonderful sequence with the killer off rooftops. That was exciting. So it just, overall, it just doesn't work. So, as we always do this, let's just, I don't want to say bury this, because it doesn't deserve to be buried, but let's seal the deal. Let's seal the envelope and put it away, okay? So, if I were to rate this film, how would I rate it? Okay, so The Incredibles 1 being, a 10 out of 10. I wouldn't change a thing. Incredibles 2, I would say a 7 out of 10. It's not a bad movie, but it's not as good as the first movie. Here's the thing, it's almost like maybe my expectations were too high. Maybe because of the fact that it was 14 years, I anticipated it to be a nearly flawless film. But that doesn't mean it's a bad film. Even the Dark Knight the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan had a few missteps. Arguably either the first film's the weakest or the third film's the weakest. Well, so it just really doesn't matter. Here's the thing, it was a good film. I just didn't love it.